lots of speeches, but I'm actually really nervous about this one. The topic is just so heavy, and I'm used to doing, hurrah, hurrah, let's get rid of them, and it's all very exciting, and this is not the same at all, but it's more important, actually. So you might be wondering, why is an anti-lockdown activist speaking at a pro-life rally? Well, obviously, I am pro-life, but there is more to my story than simply being a thorn in Daniel Andrews' side. Yeah. This isn't the type of speech I'm used to doing, but in many ways I think it's more important than any speech I've ever done. I stand before you as an example of how a person, someone who believes in the sanctity of life, can still spiral into darkness so deep that they end up making choices that they can never undo. I have had not only one abortion, but two. I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for those mistakes, but obviously no actions or words will ever truly make up for the fact that I took the lives of two innocent human beings. And no, I am not brave for standing up here and admitting this to you. I wasn't brave when it mattered, when it counted. I was a coward. I'm here today not for recognition, but for atonement. If speaking my truth can prevent even one person from walking the same path that I did, maybe I can earn some forgiveness. Maybe. Some people try to soften this for me when I admit it, and they say, it wasn't your fault, you didn't know, the system is set up to push women into abortion. Well, that is not my story. I grew up in a loving, faith-filled home. I knew exactly what I was doing. And still, in that moment, I was selfish. I didn't want to face the consequences of my actions. I won't dwell too much longer on my mistakes. Instead, I want to shed light on why I think I might have found myself in that position, because now, after 18 years of reflection, I can see a chain of events that might have led me to that situation. Like I said, I had a good upbringing, two loving parents, I was supported, nurtured, loved. So how did I become a woman that gave her love away so freely that she found herself with unplanned pregnancies? I make no excuses for my mistakes, but I know, looking back, what the root cause of how I might have become that woman who found herself there. I was abused at 8, again at 13, and again at 18. I won't go into detail. There are children here, but the adults, you know what kind of abuse I'm probably referring to. Each time this happened, my understanding of love and intimacy was shattered. Then when I grew up, I simply continued the pattern. I continued disrespecting myself as others had. I gave my body away as though it had no worth. I became my own worst abuser by continuously making bad decisions. I became resilient and almost comfortable in my own shame. I'm sharing this with you not to seek sympathy or to make excuses, but because I think my life could have been different had those events either not happened, or if after they had happened, they were handled a little bit differently. I can't say with complete certainty that I wouldn't have had those abortions if I wasn't abused, but I can't fathom any other reasonable explanation for why a well-brought-up and loved girl ended up being in that situation. There are parents here today, lots of parents here today, parents who may one day face these heartbreaking realities with their own children. And I want to tell you, how you prepare for and respond to abuse really shapes futures. Prevention is always better, obviously, but you will only notice the signs of potential abuse if you know what you're supposed to be looking for. If prevention doesn't work and you're faced with the aftermath of abuse, how you handle it can make all the difference. I've written a book based on my political imprisonment during Victoria's lockdown. I was in prison for 22 days for a social media post. Yep, crazy. But that's not actually the heart of my book or my story. I used that story to actually talk about the things I'm talking about now. In my book, I opened up about my journey, about the abuse, the mistakes, the lessons. I'm very careful with how I write it, by the way. It is safe for teenagers who understand a little bit about the world. But I dug deep and I searched for answers and understanding. And what I found has helped others, especially parents, to see what they might not have seen otherwise. My mum and dad, who are here today, my mum, herself a survivor of much worse abuse, sorry mum, contributed to the book. She wrote a whole chapter at the end on what she wishes she had known being a mother when those things happened to me, and what she maybe could have done differently. It's been confronting for my family to bear these wounds. Half of my church is here today, so it's pretty hard to do, but we did it with one hope, and that is to help others avoid our mistakes. We have copies of the book here. My mum and dad are over there near the gazebo. They're $30 or it's only $10 for an audio book. And if you don't have cash, just take the book. We'll give you the BSB and account number, and we trust you to pay later on. Every time you pick up the book, you'll remember, oh, I haven't paid for that. Anyway, so if you're a parent, especially if you have teenage daughters or girls that will become teenagers, because they all do, hopefully, I urge you to read it. If your teenagers are old enough to understand the world, if you know what I mean, they know about the birds and the bees, please let them read it. In fact, I would bribe them, give them $50 to read the book if they don't want you. I promise it will be worth every cent. I guess my point is, I honestly believe we can prevent abortions if we can prevent abuse and learn how to handle them better. A young woman's perception of intimacy depends heavily on her self-worth and her confidence. We need to teach young women that they are worth more than a casual fling, and to protect their honour unwaveringly. Before I close, I'll just change the tone just a little bit. I want to speak on the street work that I've been doing, the interviews that I've been doing. I want to speak on how I think every single person here can help to open hearts and minds in Australia to push back against abortion laws. And I believe the key at the moment lies in late-term abortion. When I hit the streets twice, asking everyday people about late-term abortion, 99% of them had no idea that abortion was legal till death. And even when you convince them that it's true, they don't believe you because it's so shocking, and it's hard to go somewhere else with them when they just don't believe you. They were shocked, they were speechless, the reactions were incredible. Some believe that late-term abortion only happens in extreme medical situations, and as the doctor explained, any woman who wants a late-term abortion for any reason can get it. And if a doctor won't allow it to happen, they are legally forced to refer her to someone who will. So basically, no one is denied at all. The reason could be her partner left her, or she's run out of money, or something ridiculous and simple like that. This is where we can make progress. Talk to people about late-term abortion. Your colleagues, people that you meet in the streets, and share the facts, because when the reality becomes so extreme and so obviously wrong, when we're talking about fully formed babies, it does wake people up. This is an opportunity. Sometimes things have to get really bad before people see the truth. Equip yourself with the facts, all right? Don't just start yabbering on. You need to know your facts. Dr. Joanna Howe, I'm sure many of you know her. She has a website with really, really easy facts. In closing, I often imagine, and maybe some priests here might argue with me on this, but we'll find out. I often imagine that aborted babies are somehow martyrs. Their lives are a sacrifice, and we cannot let their sacrifice be in vain. We must honour them for fighting back against the laws that allowed them to be killed. And we can do that one conversation at a time and one heart at a time. Thank you for bearing with me.